What is going up, guys? This is the Flamespot here, back with another video. And this one will be a battle report of the Island Assault Bolt Action Starter Kit between the Japanese and American Marines. Now, I had this table set up looking super nice and exactly by the starter book.
But now I've turned this entire area into a Frostgrave gameplay. Mind the extra stuff that I have right there unpainted. Yeah, this table is cooked. And now I have to move all these models again to another table. And I still have to move all of this stuff off of the Frosthaven board because I need to use the green mat for this encounter. So, I've set up the board as for what the guide actually says for the Island Assault on Guadalcanal campaign. And I have all the items and extra bits and bobs that came in the box with us, including all the order die, pin markers, and just data cards, models, everything like that. The only thing that this box doesn't come with is a tape measure. So I have my own Warlords game tape measure that I got before, and just a cup or dice bag to put the order dice in. So we got my 10 order dice going into the cup, and there they are. Additionally, they did provide 10 normal D6 die. However, just in case if I need to, do more, I also have some of my other dice that I might just use instead. We'll see how this goes. After clearing those box and rulebook away, you can see the actual battlefield, in which we have these little pillboxes and bunkers along the area, well, pretty much halfway through the center. To the book, the special rule for this is that if the Japanese are within 6 inches of that, then they are considered, I believe it was called like being entrenched, but I'm just going to say that's going to give them cover, and we'll just say soft cover. Now, soft cover. I was thinking about playing this in 2nd edition, since that's the only edition that I really know, mainly because I don't have my 3rd edition book yet. It is on order to my house, but hasn't gotten here yet. However, I've been looking up some pretty good videos on it, and it's almost the exact same, just simpler modifies with shots and other things like that. No exceptional damage, and the addition of cover. As you can see on this map, there is pretty much no cover whatsoever. So the only cover that's going to be given are going to be these bunkers and pillboxes that can only be taken by the Japanese, which might give them a reason to move forward instead of hanging back, and for the Marines to either hang back and wait in ambush, or to occupy those pillboxes so that the Japanese cannot get that cover. So now, let's find out, is the Island Assault Bolt Action Starter Set box still good for 3rd edition? Now it's time to go look over our roster. Starting off, we have a veteran M3 half-track. Now, this half-track has a heavy machine gun in the front and 1 medium machine gun covering all other sides. Unfortunately, due to the many different travels that I've done with this thing and transported it everywhere, all over the place, all of the machine guns have either broke or have been lost, but for the sake of this mission, it has those machine guns on top of it. And also, for this game, as according to the rulebook, especially when it says on your first battle, we will not be using its transport ability. Up next, we have 1 veteran U.S. Marine squad with a veteran NCO with SMG, 2 Marines with bars, and 7 Marines with rifles and anti-tank grenades. We have a veteran first lieutenant with rifle, along with just another soldier with rifle. A 2nd squad of 10 Marines that is exactly like the first one, so 1 NCO with SMG, 7 rifles, 2 bars, all veteran. And then finally, we have a veteran bazooka team, so just bazooka man and loader. In total, that is 5 order dice that is going to go in their pot. Of course, going against the Marines in the Island Assault box are the Japanese, Imperial Japanese Army. Starting off with a regular Type 97 Chiha tank. Now, this tank is actually built as the Ki Shinhoto Chiha tank. However, it's going to be played as the Type 97 Chiha. And that's just whenever I built it. I kind of wanted this one instead of the other one. I have now since got another Chiha, but I haven't painted it yet. But it is in that configuration. Next, we have a IJA close quarter squad, and this is going to be a regular, so 10 regular soldiers, 1 NCO with SMG, even though it looks like he's holding a rifle, he has an SMG, and then 9 regular soldiers with rifles and anti-tank grenades. Following, we have the officer, a regular second lieutenant with pistol and sword, as well as a regular soldier with SMG. A Japanese fire support squad, which contains all regulars again, 1 regular NCO with rifle, 1 soldier with LMG, as well as a regular soldier that's a loader, who also has a rifle, and then just 7 regular soldiers with rifles and anti-tank grenades. Finally, we have a regular sniper team to balance out this group. Again, just like the Marines, they have 5 order die to go into their pool. So it's going to be 5 units on 5 units. Let's get started and deploy. All right, I think it's time to draw the first order dice. It's going to be Japanese. The Japanese officer is going to take this order dice, and he's actually going to use the Snap 2 ability that platoon commanders can give, since he is leading the infantry platoon, and he's going to be able to give 2 orders to soldiers. The first one is going to be to his rifle squad over here, and they're going to be set on ambush. And then he's going to give the other one to the infantry squad on the left side. So they're going to run, and then we'll do the officer's thing last, since he resolves his thing last. So let's go ahead and run these Japanese. The Japanese assault squad has now occupied the pillbox, and I was thinking that, if they are entrenched inside of a pillbox, then they should probably get heavy cover as opposed to light cover. So that's actually going to be the rule for these ones. Not to be outdone by his soldiers, the Japanese officer, platoon commander, is also going to run to try to get into the fight as fast as possible. Now, of course, this might not be the best action, going into a lot of guns probably coming after him soon. However, I can assume that this... gotta be an inch off. Yeah, he's still within range. That getting into melee combat is a big focus for these warriors. Alright, so their move is now done. 2 units have moved up out of run, while 1 is on ambush. This is support by fire back here. See, it's time to draw a new dice. And, it's another Japanese dice. How lucky. From the rear, the Type 97 Chiha tank is going to give covering fire for these assaulting troops, and it's just going to go ahead and perform a fire action. Now, still within 45 degrees is the unit on the far left side, which it's going to shoot at with its HE and medium machine gun into these Marines right over here. As a response, the squad of Marines is going to go ahead and go down. So they're going to take one of their dice and go down, because that's a lot of fire coming in from that tank that they do not want to receive. But let's see how many shots it gets from its HE round. So I did a pretty bad job of distributing these guys, because within the 2-inch fire range, they can get 5 men with one of these HE rounds. So because this unit went down, instead of taking 5 shots from that HE round, it's now going to be cut in half, rounding up. So that's going to be 2.5, rounding up to 3. So 3 shots from there. Let's go see if they hit. So we're rolling 3 dice. Base is 4 to hit. Used to be 3, but now it's 4 in 3rd edition. There is no long range limitation, and going down does not do anything. So I think we're just looking for 4s, since it doesn't meet any of the other modifier things. So since it hasn't moved, all right, looking for 4s. All right, we got 1 4, and then 2. That means it's automatically going to take a pin. But since it was an HE, however, now it's time to see if it kills. These guys are veterans, so it needs to roll a 5 to kill. So roll, it did not kill. Since it's an HE2, it does D2 pins for 2 pins. So we're just going to represent that with the number of things on there. Now we also have the medium machine gun that is in the hull of the gun. Now apparently this is also an update where any sort of machine guns attached to vehicles are also cut in half the amount of shots they get. And they say that's just because that it's not the primary use of that vehicle, especially if it's a tank. So medium machine gun used to have 5 shots, now back to 3. Since they're down, I'm assuming that also cuts that in half. So 1.5 rounding up is 2 now. So 2 shots, looking for 4 since it's still within range. All right, 2 hits, looking for 5s to kill. 1 kill, however, since they are down, then now they get a cover save. Since they went down, they get a 5-up cover save. So like in Warhammer, I guess kind of a 5-up feel no pain, if you want to say that. Ugh, or armor save, I should say. All right, a 1. So 1 guy dies. So 1 Marine dies. However, this unit is down and it does have 2 pin markers. So I'd say that's still probably good. Always just getting pins and wasting a dice for the Marines for the Japanese side. All right, so time to pick another dice. There's only 1 more Japanese dice, but the good thing we got an American dice now. So let's see what they're gonna do. I suppose that the American player will probably do the exact same thing, in which the platoon commander will give the special ability to activate 2 other units. Actually, you know what? What would have been smarter is not to do that. You know what? Yeah, so he's not going to do that because he'll have more chance to actually draw more dice with the next thing. So instead, we'll advance the infantry squad right here. So they're going to advance and they're going to shoot all their weapons just into this assaulting squad right here. Actually, you know what? They're just going to fire. They're not even going to... There's no point for them advancing and trying to get into melee range with the people who want to get into melee. So they're just going to go ahead and fire, and we'll see that in just a second after I gather the dice. All right, so we have, since they're all within range, including the SMG, and there's no long range, we can just roll all of these dice at the same time. So we have 2 bars, which has 2 shots each. We have 2 shots for the SMG, and then we have 7 shots for just normal rifles for having 7 rifles. Now, the American special rule of theirs is that for every 3 soldiers inside of a unit, whenever they fire or advance, then they add 1 extra shot for just having like good stuff. So since there's 10 soldiers in here in total, that means we get 3 extra shots, I guess rifle shots or just any sort of shots. So we have all of these shots that are going into this Japanese assaulting unit. All right, so they are not pinned, they're not firing at point blank, and no one is inexperienced or on the move, so we're just looking for 4s to hit. That's a lot of dice, and that's a lot of high numbers I see. Oh boy. Well, it's a good thing that they are getting cover for being inside of those bunkers, because that is way more than half. All right, the Japanese are regular, so they need 4 ups to wound. So rolling again. All right, this one is less so. However, that's still 5 potentially dead Japanese soldiers assaulting. Of course, oh, wait, did I roll this one? All right, 6 then. And the Japanese need to roll 6 saves. Since they're in heavy cover, they get +2 to their roll. Oh, wait, no, hard cover is, they get 4-ups, actually. Soft cover is 5, hard cover is 4-ups. So they are looking for 4-ups to save their guys. And look at that, just good rolls all around from everyone. 2 soldiers managed to go down, and we'll just take these 2 guys out. Actually, you know what? We want to keep the guys in the front. We'll take 2 guys from the back out. They also get 1 pin after getting shots like that. So, all those dice resulting in 2 soldiers going down. This is definitely going to be interesting on this next turn, on who's going to be assaulting who, perchance, and who's going to be firing. Well, of course, we have to go ahead and draw another dice. Oh, the ploy with the officer to not do that is, or not to give his special ability, did not go off. So the only unit left for the Japanese is the sniper unit, and they're just going to go ahead and fire. So the sniper team, they have a range of 36, and this is actually different between Warhammer and Bolt Action, is that you cannot pre-measure any of your movement or any of your shots. You have to kind of just eyeball it and guess. However, I know that this board was set up as 36 by 36 inches long, so I know that that sniper is guaranteed to be within range. The sniper team is going to shoot at the bazooka. Just measure to make sure. It is definitely within 36-inch range. Now, it's still only a rifle, so it only gets 1 shot. Sniper, since it's a sniper, it now only needs a 3 instead of a 4. So looking for 3s to hit. It got a 4. And, alright, and so now it hit. It now gets to roll to damage, and it gets +1 to its dice as well. So, although it's a veteran, so normally 5s, now it just needs 4s again in order to kill. Oh, it still got the 5, so it is just killed no matter what. It's going to be able to then pick off the bazooka team. However, realistically, as it says in the rules, if one of the member of the team goes down, then the loader or whoever will just pick up the weapon. And but now the team is reduced to 1, leaving it a -1 for its hit from now on. So I'll actually just get rid of the loader and keep the bazooka, since the loader would have picked up the bazooka anyways. Not only that, but they also receive a pin marker for getting hit. And also, just rereading some of the rules, it actually says you can't snipe out a soldier with a special weapons. It's only the NCO or team leader that can be specifically targeted. So I guess it still would have been up to the person to choose to pick out the loader, but no matter what, 1 guy would have died and the other guy would have been pinned with the bazooka still. Well, now we know that the last 3 die are all American. So we will see what we're going to do with these guys. All right, so we're actually going to do that now. We're going to go ahead and make a pivot, because you're allowed 2 pivots with an advance, and you can do it just off the start. Instead of at a run, you have to move forward first. So we're going to make the pivot. We're going to move 9 inches, and then just move forward after that. And now, the medium machine gun on this side, that would be on this side, can fire into these guys. The heavy machine gun can fire into the sniper team. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. Starting with the medium machine gun into that team over there, I get 3 shots, because it was 5 divided by 2 since it's a vehicle. So needing, it didn't move, so that means -1 to hit, so I need 5s now in order to actually hit. All right, we got 1-6 up here, so 1 hit, which is perfect, because that puts a pin. Actually, I'm thinking if we were allowed to split fire. Let me go check that real quick. All right, it looks like that you can do split fire with everything on here. And I'm also realizing now, just opened up the side armor to the tank over there, and trucks only have a 7-up save or armor, and that tank definitely can probably blow it up the next turn. No matter. So we hit these guys once. Gonna add a pin to them. So now they're at 2 pins. All right, now we need a 4-up to kill. All right, got another 6, and now these guys need a 5-up to for their cover save. All right, and they rolled a 5. So nothing happens except for a pin going into them. Next, we have the fire on the sniper team. So now this is the heavy machine gun. It only gets 3 shots. However, it does have a penetration of +1, which will help on the wound roll. So first we got a hit. Again, it used to be 4s, but since it moved, now it's on 5s. Rolling 2 dice, since it was 3 shots originally, but it's a vehicle, so divided by 2, round up. So 2 shots on 5, 1 hit, which is great because, again, that puts a pin marker on these guys. And then we need would be a 4 because it's a regular. Now 3 because of my pin value. So I need a 3 in order to kill one. And I got a 2. So unfortunately, it just pins them, but that is good all the same. Well, looking at our remaining order dice, all we have is our bazooka man as well as our commander. So we'll just go ahead, and he definitely needs to try to get a shot on that tank. However, let's move first and then see if I will be in range of that tank. So we'll just start with him advancing. First, I have to do an order test because he is pinned. So because the officer is within 6 inches of him, I think so. I mean, that looks right. Yep. Within 6 inches of him, then that gives him a +2, I believe, for 3rd edition to his order thing. It used to be like 1st lieutenants and 2nd lieutenants was a 1 or 2 +2, but I think now it's just platoon commanders give you +2, as well as like the 2 order things. So let's see. I need a 10-up because he is veteran. -1 because of the pin, +1 because of +2 because of the officer, but he can't go above an 11, so actually I need an 11, so just not 6s. I rolled a 7, he is good, he loses a pin marker, making him good again. So this soldier is going to he's going to advance, and unfortunately, probably should have moved the officer first, because he needs to get 6 inches out of the way. Alright, well he's just going to move slightly in front then, so that I still maintain that 1 inch rule. And he's just going to go ahead and shoot. If I try to shoot at the front side of that Chiha, and it's not like it's going to matter too much because it's most likely going to miss. All right, so we normally needed 4s. We need 5 because he moved, and then we need, do we need 6s for any reason? Oh, yeah, 6s because he's a team weapon and he's lost his loader. So I need a 6 in order to hit. Let's see. All right, I got a 5. Unfortunately, I really wish that at least 1 shot would have gone off. That would have been pretty good. All right, so that's him gone. Now it's time for the officer. Officer is actually just going to stay behind. I know you're supposed to, lead them in from the front, but I really don't want to trigger any sort of potential attacks or unnecessary damage to my officers, especially since you can shoot through people. So I think I'm just going to advance him as well, and he's just going to move to the rear over here and probably fire all his weapons at that assaulting or near assaulting infantry groups. So him and his soldier moving 6 inches to the side, and then they're gonna just fire their rifles into those guys over there. They are definitely within range. I get 2 dice, hitting on 4s, now 5s because they moved. I got 1 6, which I had that 6 before with the bazooka, and needing 4s now to wound. No wound, however, since I hit, that's a 3rd pin marker. So stacking up pin markers. Unfortunately, pin markers don't work as good, or pinning a target isn't as probable for a unit as it was in 2nd edition, because normally it would be -1 to hit per pin marker on there. Now it's just -1 to hit if there's any pin markers on there. You really just don't want to have more than your morale value. Otherwise that unit routes. So that's going to be it for this first round. I'm going to clean up and we'll get on to round 2. Now that we're in round 2, I'm going to probably start speeding up this entire pace and no longer really explain things and just show what happens. First up is going to be the Americans. And because I put it in such a dangerous position where these Japanese infantry could potentially, well, I think that's within 12 inches, take and destroy that vehicle, I'm actually going to go ahead. What I could do is ambush here so that if they attack, then they can take a lot of damage. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and, even though it might not be the best play, I'm going to advance my half track. Now, actually, in the 3rd edition, I believe, even though it's a tracked vehicle, I can still do 2 pivots of 90 degrees along with moving its 99 inches. So I'm going to see if I can take advantage of that and move this guy in a better place. All right, I'm not sure if what I did was entirely legal, but I did a very small pivot at the start, moved 5 inches, and then pivoted again with 90 degrees. I think it was 90 degrees. I'm probably going to have to go get a protractor soon. However, I positioned it so it's slightly further away from the Japanese over there, and if they did want to assault this vehicle, then they would have to move further. Still thinking, making it out of range for these guys up here to assault this vehicle, even if they wanted to. So now I also have the heavy machine gun to be able to fire at the Hache. I still think it's going to be at a front profile, definitely from this angle. However, the medium machine gun on the right side can fire into the support by fire infantry team. So that's what we're going to do. We'll start with the heavy machine gun into the tank, since it also can technically damage it with a pin value of 1. So we get 2 dice. It moved, so hitting on 5s now instead of 4s. And, yep, no pin on it. So we're just trying to see if we can hit. So hitting on 5s. Oh, we got 1 5. All right, so that's actually perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to at least hit it so that we could pin it because it is a heavy weapon. So it's definitely pinned. Let's see, I get a +1. The Hache tank has an armor value of 8. So it is impossible to be able to actually damage it with this weapon unless I hit it from the side or from the rear. However, I was able to put a pin on it, so I'm not even going to roll the damage since I can only roll high enough as a 7, not an 8. So next is time for the medium machine guns to go into the Japanese over there. I get 3 shots. Again, hitting on 5s because they moved with no hits. All right, that's it for this one. All right, next dice out of the cup is Japanese. All right, so what's going to happen is that this group of the assault infantry is just going to go ahead and run, and they are going to try to get into close quarters. Now, of course, they have to first pass their leadership chest. They have 3 pins on them. However, they also have their officers, so technically it's a -2. They are regular, so they need a 9. -2 is 7 or less to do this. All right, they got a 5, so they lose a pin marker, and they get to successfully run. So let's see. They are going to go ahead and assault the middle group of infantry, Marines right here. You know what? That might be too far away. They're going to go ahead and assault the Marines over here, since I feel like this guy is closer to this guy. So let's see if they are within 12 inches. Definitely reached, which means the assault is successful. And as far as I've been looking this stuff up as much as possible. And it says, oh, before I move this, actually, there's going to be a reaction. But I've been looking this stuff up as much as possible. And it said that as long as one soldier is able to reach in contact, then the assault is successful. So I'm just going to assume that the assault is successful and they're all going to be able to attack these guys in close quarters. However, before they do that, the Marines aren't just going to lay there and take that assault. They are going to go ahead and take one of their order dice, and they're going to fire at this oncoming threat. So this is going to be way harder for the Japanese to survive this one. So we got 4 shots for the bar, 2 shots for the SMG, 6 shots for rifles since one of them died, as well as another 3 additional shots because of this United States special rules. So these guys are pinned, so they are going to be hitting on 5s. Yep, they don't have to take an order test to fire because it's just a reaction, but they're going to still be hitting on 5s because they are pinned. So let's roll. Let's see. That's a really good roll again. Oh my gosh. All right, so we have all of these hits, and then they're going to be killing on 4s since they're regulars. So we need 4s now. Ooh, that's way worse right there. So look at that. Only 1 managed to actually kill. So we're going to just take off 1 normal Japanese infantry. Since they are assaulting, they do not get a cover save because they are moving, directly into the line of fire of these guys. But that was really lucky for the Japanese. So let's quickly go ahead and move these guys into base-to-base contact since I know they're within 12 inches. So we're going to go ahead and conduct this intense close combat. Now, normally the Japanese, they would have to take an order test in order to assault, as well as just, to charge things. However, I believe their special rule is that they can do that without taking a morale check pretty much. So they're just good to assault. So we're going to be rolling all the dice at the same time. White or Japanese, red or Americans. We have 9 American dice and 7 Japanese. Japanese needs 5s. Americans need 4s. Again, though, not again, but Japanese are fanatics in close combat, so that means this is going to go out until the end, pretty much until there's 1 soldier of the Japanese left, and they're pretty much going to take a morale check. But yeah, let's see who goes down in this close combat. Okay, so like I said, Japanese need 5s, so I see that there were 2 5s scored, so that means 2 Marines go down. And then Americans needed 4s, so 4 Japanese go down. So, big casualties. However, they are still taking down a few with them. So we have 2, but 4 go down. All right, so we have 3 Japanese left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more Marines. Now, normally you would just end the combat, but again, like I said, since Japanese are fanatics, they get to keep on continuing combat until pretty much down to the last man. All right, let's roll. Same goes. All right, again, Japanese need 5 since they're regulars, or veterans that they're going against, so they kill 1, drop 2, and then the Marines, they're going to kill the rest of the Japanese. But that takes out another Marine. Now, I've heard that the Japanese are kind of hard to play in this edition because it used to be that the attackers would roll their dice first. They would do their injuries on the opponent, and then the opponent would strike back then. And now that it's simultaneous, then it's way at a disadvantage, or it's not at an advantage for the attackers. But yep, that's pretty much what happened. So this Japanese unit is completely taken out now. And look at the battlefield. This unit has taken a little bit of a beating, quite a bit of a beating. And we have the officer in the center, and then we still have all the backfire in the back. So let's go ahead and go on to our next dice. Japanese again. I think in this scenario, it would probably be good for the tank to go ahead and go. And since the half track has already gone, the officer doesn't really have any threat from this half track, and he's kind of exposed right now. I know he wanted to be in combat with this nice sword right there, which allows him to re-roll an attack, but now he's a little exposed. So the tank is going to have to come and try to save it. It's going to shoot its HE into these guys, try to put some pins on them, and then its medium machine gun is going to go into these guys. Yeah, just to try to, again, build up more pins and try to, take them out of the action. So, HE into the soldiers, we're looking for a 2-inch. That's definitely 4 right there, and I think 4 is going to be the maximum I can get. So 4, I think these guys are going to want to start advancing, so they are not actually going to go down. This could be a problem. So yeah, tank is looking for 4s on to hit. It is pinned, so actually first the tank has to take a morale check of 9. Oh, it just got 9. Wait a second. The pin actually makes it, reduces that morale, doesn't it? Yeah, so instead of actually firing, it is going to instead move backwards. And I believe it is moved back 6 inches. So it's going to be doing just that. Still retains its pin. So that is very unfortunate for that guy right there. All right, let's draw the next dice. Japanese again. Advance my support by fire since they actually have to start moving up and actually doing some damage. So let's go ahead and do just that. Now these guys could shoot into the half track and inflict some pin markers, even though they're only using small arms since the half track's flank is exposed. They can do pins. However, I think they really need to start whittling down some of this infantry coming at them. After all, the name of the game right now is to kill as many as possible for this game. So they're going to just shoot everything they have into that Marine squad down there. Let's see at the range. All right, so they're going to be shooting into the Marines. They're all just within range. So I'm just going to do the 7 rifles first. Needing 4s, now 5s because they moved, but not pinned. No shots right there actually hits, so no hits from that. But we still have the light machine gun crew needing 4s now and 5s again because they moved. And they scored 3 hits, which is great. That inflicts a pin. All right, and since they are veterans, they need 5s, no cover saves. So no kills right there, unfortunately, but they did get a pin at least on that infantry crew. All right, fishing for a dice again in the cup. It's US. I think it's time for the US to finally have the platoon commander do his special ability, which allows him to pick 2 units within 6 inches. I think it is just going to be these guys, but if the bazooka can reach, which it can, then it might as well just go ahead and do that as well. So it's going to allow the bazooka team and these guys to go ahead and do their shots. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with an advance to the U.S. Marines, and they're going to fire everything they have into the Japanese support by fire squad coming after them now. So let's measure that out. Of course, first, we have to do a morale check. Needing 10s because they're veterans, now 9s because they're pinned by 1. They got a 10. Oh, man. Oh, but the officer is here, which gives them +2 to their pass, so actually they are good. That was almost bad for them. They get rid of their pin for passing the order test, and now they get to move or advance as they wanted. I totally didn't advance these guys so that the Japanese officer can charge next round. Totally not. Anyways, we have our same number of dice rolls. We got 4 bars. We have 7 normal rifles. The SMG is not in range of those guys, and you cannot split fire of individual soldiers in there unless it's a special weapons, like a Panzerfaust into a tank. So I cannot even, target the officers. And then 3 more because 9 of the weapons are still in range, giving me that extra American dice roll rule. They did advance, so they need 5s to hit. They're no longer pinned, but that's a lot of dice still. Looking for 5s. Believe it or not, only 1 dice actually rolled a 5 in the end. So that is some very, very poor shooting for these boys over here, unlike what they have been doing before. But, alright, so now we're looking for 4s to kill, and it was a 3. So, no kills, however, they did pin these guys. Next up is the bazooka. So I'm going to advance with this guy again, even though it's probably going to be a very unlikely to hit. So right here, Oh yeah, he's definitely shooting, and that is outside of 1 inch. Yeah, he can definitely hit or try to shoot that tank. Let's see if he's got range. Oh no, since the tank actually had to back up because it failed its order test, the bazooka does not have range anymore on it, so it cannot fire, but it has advanced. Now that just leaves the officer left to do his last little thing over here, and I think I'm just going to have him move forward. I'll also have him advance. I kind of wanted to keep him in between here, but I don't want that tank to just blow up my officer. You know what? Might as well. So I'll advance him just forward. Now, let's see. I'm thinking that he's going to be able to shoot the Japanese officer over there. Although he's in the bunker, he will get, you know, that hard cover. Yep, they're definitely within range. So they'll still just take their pot shots and see if they can hit. So 2 dice for 2 rifles, hitting on 5s. No, nothing. All right. So that's it for all of the American moves. Now we have 2 Japanese dice left. That's going to be for the sniper team and for the officer. I think I'm going to have the sniper team go first before I may or may not charge that officer in. We'll have to see. Now, with the sniper, unfortunately, he cannot shoot the American officer, and that is because his own officer is in the way, and he fears for, you know, shooting his own, you know, commander right there. So he's going to have to just go ahead and take a shot at the infantry marine unit in front of him. He's just going to go ahead and do a fire order with the scope. So we are looking for, it's going to see if he can pick off that NCO that's leading from the front over there. Let's see. So first, he has a pin on him, so he has to do an order test, needing 8s. And he got an 8, so he is good. Take that pin off. All right. Almost wasn't good right there. But, yep, he got it. So now to fire, needs a 3 to hit. Oh, that went far away, but he got a 4. And now needs a 3 again to hit because of the sniper. And he got a 6. So, boom, look at that. The sniper got the NCO leading from the front right there. Oh no, and that induces, you know, a little bit of panic with the soldiers just to see their NCO go down, which is going to make them at a -1 to their morale checks for the rest of this game. They also are going to receive a pin marker. With that successful firing from the sniper, that emboldens the officer, the Japanese second lieutenant, to go ahead and see he's going to try to make a run and charge. Oh yeah, he's definitely within range. He's going to do that run. Of course, these guys are going to see this, you know, Japanese soldier waving a sword high above the air, and they are going to, well, they actually can't fire because they've already gone. So they do not get a reaction. He's going to just be able to run. Him and his trusted, his trusted bugler are going to be able to run right into combat right there. This is going to be great. All right, so here we got 2 dice versus 9 right here. Since the officer has a sword, he actually gets tough fighter, which allows him to reroll 1 failure pretty much. So let's see if they can get these Marines. Marines need 4s, Japanese need 5. So we got 1 5, and they're also just going to do that reroll. And so both of them managed to kill a Marine. And yeah, there's a lot of Marines stabbing back right there. Marines dropped 4, they would have hit 5. But the officer and his little bugler was able to take out 2 of these guys. So not only did they lose their officer, but, you know, the officer came in and was able to inflict some wounds on that squad as well. It's not looking that good for the Japanese right now. This is going to be the end of this round as well. Looking up at the field, Japanese have very little left. They have 1 support by fire squad, a sniper team, which has been doing pretty all right, and a tank that has ran away with 1 pin marker because of a heavy machine gun on this half-track. Now, this half-track, you know, if the Japanese go first, it's probably going to be assaulted and destroyed by this squad right here. So, it still could be anyone's game. We still have a few more rounds to go to see who is going to win this all-out war scenario. Round 3, dice are back in the cup. Let's see who goes first. It's going to be the Americans. That could be really good, especially for this. Wow. I need to get this half track out of the way of getting assaulted. Man, the Japanese really needed that dice. The half trap ended up just moving backwards and pivoting a couple of times. We have 3 attacks from a medium machine gun going into the infantry over there, needing 5s because he moved. So 1 hit, which makes a pin, and then needing 4s to kill. That's a 1, so did not happen. All right, next in line we have the Americans again. Oh, Japanese just cannot get a break right now with what they need. Why not just do both, and by having my officer go ahead and give the command for these 2 guys to go ahead and pull their dice and try to fire. So we'll start, I guess we'll just start with the bazooka guy right now, and he will just go ahead and do the fire. Let's see, 1 shot, needing, since he did not move, still missing his crewmate, so he needs a 5 to hit this tank. He scored a 1, so he missed. Now it's time for these guys. I'm thinking that it's going to be best to fire with them all of their shots into this infantry squad over here. Let's go ahead and gather that. Rally test first, needing that is good enough. They lose their pin. They are getting 4 dice for their bars, 5 dice for rifles, and then now only 2 for having only 7 members instead of 9 anymore. So they did not move, so they are looking for, and no pins on them, so they're looking for 4s. Got quite a good roll. I'd say that was pretty average. All right, and now we are looking for 4s again to kill. All right, we've got 3. Japanese are out in the open, so there is no save for that. So they just go ahead and lose 3 members. So we're going to take out these 3 guys. They gain another pin as well. It's also time for the officer to go ahead and make his move, and he's just going to go ahead and I'm just going to have him run for now, just pretty much getting into a safe position so that the sniper cannot pick him off. And I'm thinking he's just going to go get tucked in right between here. So if the sniper does try to fire at him, then he can take cover. Now, there's no point in advancing or saying he's going to advance because he can't fire anyways. He can't hit the tank, and he can't shoot through his own men. So they're just going to stay pretty much right halfway in between and do that. All right, so there's only one more American dice in here, so it makes sense that we got the Japanese. Now this dice is going to be put on the tank to do a fire command. It has to pass an order test. Oh, it got 12. Okay, that's actually extremely bad. So since it rolled a 12, it goes on the Fubar chart. It's not really going to actually matter since no matter what, it got a 6. So that means the unit has panicked and they get to run in the exact opposite direction of the closest unit. Now the closest unit is pretty much anything in front of him. However, like I said before, the board is 36 by 36 and the tank is right on the edge of that. So actually the tank runs off the battlefield and it is no longer in play. That's pretty much probably actually going to do it for the game. We'll just play out the rest of this turn and see how, if anything else can happen, because the tank has now gone out of action by running off the battlefield. Well, it wasn't supposed to probably be like this. I thought the Japanese might have had a chance if they could have assaulted that half track and then gotten their tank to do some good damage against these guys. But like I said, we'll just go through the end. All right, we've got the Another thing, I'm thinking that this has to be really do their fire. Of course, they have to pass a morale check. They need a, so 9 minus 3, they need a 6 or less. You know what? Let's see if we can do something with this. They're actually going to do a rally check. Their morale things are not included for a rally check, so we just need a 9, and that's a good thing that I did that because they would not have passed otherwise. So they lose all of their pins in this edition. So, but these guys have rallied and not gone anywhere else. All right. 50th chance, and it is the Marines. Marines are going to go ahead and advance, and we'll put them up the board. First, they're going to pass their check, and actually, I think they're going to run. Oh, double ones. I think that that's good. So exactly the opposite of the Japanese. They, since rolling double ones, they actually lose d6 plus 1 pins. Since they only have 2, they automatically lose all their pins. They have incredible courage. This is actually going really great for the Marines, and they're actually going to take a run action. Anyways, because they just need to move up the field and get closer to these Japanese. All right, the last order dice is Japanese, and it's for the sniper team. Obviously, they're just going to go ahead and fire, and they might as well go ahead and fire at the one leader they could probably see left, which is going to be the infantry squad over here. And these guys are actually, they are behind the bunker. I'm still going to say that that's kind of line of sight blocking, and 50% of them are blocked from the sniper itself. So they are going to get the benefit of, I guess, heavy cover, since they cannot be seen around this thing, even though they are not inside the the bunker itself. So that means they're just going to get saves, I believe. Unless snipers, actually no, snipers counteract saves, so it doesn't actually matter what they're going to get. Let's see what the sniper's going to do. He's going to shoot with his 36. Actually, I think he's outside of 12. Yeah, so he can still shoot at them. All right, needs a 3 to hit. Gets a 5. Needs a 3 to wound. Gets a 6. And he pings off this NCO as well. This sniper is actually pretty MVP right now. I think he's only missed 1 shot so far. And that first shot was probably the most important. But he also got their NCO, which is definitely going to put a pin on them and, you know, lead to maybe worse panic tests in the future. However, again, it's not looking good for the Japanese with only a sniper team and some infantry left versus a half-track and pretty much just damage squads for all of the Marines. But let's get into this last round. This is probably going to be the last round we're going to play out and see how it goes. The Americans are advancing. Let's see who gets the first dice. Oh, it's going to be the Japanese, so that's actually very good for them. So they're going to start off with just their infantry squad doing the fire. They have no pins, so they have no order checks that they need to do. All of these guys are going to shoot into the Marine squad directly in front of them because they don't want to get cover saves for these guys. So we got 4 for the light machine gun and then 4 normal rifles. The SMG from the squad leader is not in range. So we are looking for 4s because they did not move and no pins are on them. It's pretty decent. And now we are looking for 5s because they are veterans. And they got 1. So 1 kill. No cover save from the Marines, so they take 1 wounded, or 1 death, and 1 pin. Once again, pulling from the cup. Oh, it's the last Japanese. This is actually, okay, so they were able to activate both their units. It's going to be the sniper team. They're obviously going to fire. They're kind of out of people to get, except for, I guess they're going to try to go for the lieutenant again. The lieutenant's going to get soft cover because he is hiding behind his own boys, even though it's kind of funny. They don't have to take a hit, but he will. So let's see if the sniper gets to do this, and I'm pretty sure that sniper, this save actually does matter. It can't get affected by the sniper. In fact, I could probably make the commander just go down from this, but let's see. So 3 up. Got a 4, 3 up to hit. Oh, he got a 3, so it did go through. And The commander gets a 5-up save. 2. All right, so even though I'm pretty sure there's probably other stuff and things, maybe I did this thing wrong, but the sniper continues his reign of terror and takes out the platoon commander for the Marines. Well, of course, whenever you take out their leader, Marines get pretty mad, since that's the thing holding them back. So we have 5 activation dice for these guys to take their retribution on. I think we're going to start with these Marines down here. They are going to advance, not ambush, they're going to advance, do an order test with an 8. They successfully passed because they needed a 9, and they are going to advance and then shoot at that little sniper team. I'm pretty sure they have had enough of this sniper team. Picking off their NCOs, their officers, and they're definitely all within range. No one's within close range. So we still are going to have 4 attacks from the machine guns, along with 3 rifles, and only 1 extra dice, since there's only 5 guys here. Looking for 5s. Oh, they got enough. They got 3 5s. Now they're looking for 4s. Even though it's a small team, that doesn't affect hit anymore. It doesn't affect wounds anymore. Looking for 4s. They're able to get 1 4. These guys don't have any cover saves, so they kill the spotter team for the sniper. So the sniper's still there, but he's lost his spotter. All right, next we're going to have the, let's see, we'll just have the half track go ahead and go, and it's going to, I want to get both of its guns into firing range. I just don't think it's going to happen, at least with any sort of accuracy. But you know what? We're petty, so we'll just move it like this. I'm sure it's fine, and which it's HMG is going to, or heavy machine gun is going to fire into that sniper, and its medium machine gun is going to fire into those guys over there. I'm kind of just doing some cleanup work. So heavy machine gun looking for 5s because it moved. Didn't get any. Unfortunate. All right. Medium machine gun into those guys. Again, looking for 5s. They got 2 5s. Ooh, I forgot about the pin for the sniper, even though it doesn't matter. And then looking for 4s to kill 2 1s, so nothing. All right. That was the truck. Now we have the Marine squad right here. And they're just going to go ahead and might as well open fire, hitting on 4s because they did not move. Oh, first order test, of course. They passed the order test. So no pins anymore. Looking for 4s. And now looking for 4s again. Oh, I'm getting this out of the camera, but they got 4. No save again for these guys, so they lose 4 more troops. It is just the NCO and the... Oh, actually, I can take out that guy. It's just the NCO, the loader, and now the machine gunner over there who is left for that squad. They have now taken 2 pins by now. Let's see. We have the bazooka unit. He's going to just go ahead and lob a shot into that same unit over there. 1 shot, needing 4s to hit with his bazooka. 5s, I guess. But he got a 5, needing a 4. Now 3 because it's... or just not a 1 because it's pin 5. Oh, he got a 1. Bazooka just like whizzed right over their head and exploded behind them. However, that's now another pin. And at this point, there are 3 pins. Well, actually, no, that doesn't matter yet. 3 pins on that unit. Finally, we have the last soldier, which was the hand to the lieutenant over there. He's going to advance and fire as well with his one rifle shot. Well within range. Doing, I guess, order tests because his leader died. I think, what's that? 8. He was supposed to take a morale test as soon as the commander died, I believe. But 8, even if he had a pin, that would be 9. He's 10. Even if his commander died, I would think that would go back down to 8. So I think he's all right. Let's just see, though. Missed with a 1. All right, at the end of this turn, it's pretty much a clear victory for the U.S. Marines and this 3rd edition bolt action island assault kit, starter kit. I actually thought that the Americans were at very big disadvantage from the start because the Japanese had a tank and the Americans really couldn't do much against it except for their bazooka, and their bazooka kept on missing or was in a bad position. But in the end, the tank rolled off the battlefield. The assaulting squad just really didn't do enough, especially I think with the new 3rd edition rules for assaulting in close combat. It's just way too hard for them to try to get stuck in. That kind of just started the end of it. You know, starting at the end of that second turn, it really could have gone either way, since the Japanese did have that tank and they had a full squad over here that could have taken out that half track. If that half track was taken out, the tank stayed in, I believe the Japanese probably would have won it. But since the Americans got the first die, they were able to do a bunch of casualties on the Japanese over here, and then that tank rolled off the battlefield. It was just pretty much over as soon as that happened. So the feasibility of playing the Island Assault for 3rd edition, I'd say it was all right. Definitely, obviously, you couldn't actually do it based off the platoon and the force organization that you have to adhere to because of the vehicles. However, if you just go around that and play it as a normal thing with just the other extra rules of 3rd edition, then it was a pretty fun game. And this is actually my first game of bolt action in general. I had a pretty good time. Of course, there's pretty much no terrain here, no cover at all that I know most of the other stuff, most games require. However, I'm definitely more excited to keep on continuing. Glad I got my Italian army going up. I think I'm going to do, more of these battle reports, probably more detail, of course, more terrain and more effort into this. But this is a great start. With that, I'm going to wrap up this battle. This is the Flamespot, signing out.